Hello, and welcome to the Transcend and Succeed show. I'm your host, Dawn Livingston, and today we are going to delve into the depths of the mind and explore the mysteries of the subconscious. Today, I have the honour of having Tracy Jay back on the show. She's a hypnotist and master of the subconscious, a guide through the corridors of the mind, and a beacon of empowerment for all who seek to unlock their potential. So welcome back to the show, Tracy.
Thank you for having me again, Dawn. I appreciate it. It's lovely to be with you.
It's lovely to see you again. So we're going to talk about the subconscious mind and the levels of consciousness, manifesting and accessing the subconscious and the quantum field, and also talk about age regression today. So let's start firstly with the subconscious mind, Tracy, and both of us understand that most people don't give much thought to how their subconscious mind governs their lives. So can you give us some examples?
Yes, I surely can. Yes, most people don't realize that they have presets in their subconscious mind. And this is somewhat like a thermostat. There was a fellow plastic surgeon, he was, in the 60s, and his name was Maxwell Maltz, and he wrote a book called Psycho-Cybernetics, and this really affected me when I read it at the time. At some point in the 70s, I was still a kid, but what fascinated me was that Maxwell Maltz determined that after he did a surgery for one of his clients, they would still behave after the fact as if they still had the problem. So what he decided was that people have presets in their mind, like a thermostat for your home. It won't let you go too far this way or too far that way. So what happens is you can't break through the ceiling to achieve more. You tend to be, locked into this no more, no less sort of scenario. And so people don't realize that they could have a traumatic experience in their lives, and it gets locked into the brain. They make a conclusion about it, and then it's working to influence their life, in years forward. So we all have these. We all have these presets.
A bit like parameters.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like your own personal thermostat.
Yeah, you can only function within those certain certain parameters. You can't go below or above. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you an example when it comes to money blocks. It's really quite common.
Mm-hmm.
Say, for example, that you feel fine. You've got a bank balance of $5,000, and everything's good. You feel fine. You feel good, but something happens that you have a big car repair, and your bank balance drops, $4,500 or $4,000. Well, then you freak out. The wheels fall off. You rein in your spending, and you're watching every nickel and dime until you get past that 5,000 sort of benchmark, and maybe even a little bit above. but you'll never go past $6,000. So say, for example, you got a Christmas bonus that pushed you up to $7,500. You will actually manifest an issue, a problem, some big expenditure that you have to pay for that will bring you back into alignment so that you're between that $5,000 and $6,000.
Yeah, it makes us feel uncomfortable, does it? If we're below or if we're above.
If we're above.
If we're out our comfort zone, we're not happy and we've got to do something about it. Isn't that strange how that works?
Yes, it is strange, and it's quite common in many different ways. Like even in relationships, meeting a new fellow or a new gal, you can have parameters. They're too successful for me, or they're not successful enough for me, or in spite of maybe consciously going forward with a relationship, there might be something later on that you decide, now they're not for me. Mm-hmm. Because we're uncomfortable with whatever the circumstances are.
Yeah.
We have to be in our comfort zone. My mom never did that, or my dad never did that.
Yeah, kind of, the fear of being outside of that comfort zone just reels us back in, doesn't it? It doesn't let us take that step above and beyond, unless we're really pushing it. But
yes, and think
to do that.
Going to the next job. You want to get a new job, but you find that you're only making, $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 more in salary than you were in the other job. And you keep doing this. If you keep doing this, there's a money block there. There is, that ceiling that it's totally unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what are the qualities then of the subconscious mind that we don't know or appreciate?
Oh, that's quite amazing, because for one thing, your subconscious doesn't know a lie from the truth. Mm-hmm. You have to be very careful what you say around your body, because your body's listening. Your subconscious is listening. So if you say, oh, my eyes are getting worse and worse every day, your body's going to make your eyes worse and worse every day. If you say, well, for God's sakes, I'm getting upwards towards 60. My knees should be creaking at this age.
Yeah, we create that, don't we?
We do. Our subconscious mind believes everything we say, even if it's a lie. So say, for example, you spend some time focusing every day on playing the piano, doing your scales. You spend, say, 15 minutes every day, twice a day, maybe, doing your scales for a week. After that experience or experiment, you will be able to play. They've done studies on this. Mm-hmm. You will be able to play as if you were actually physically practicing, but you were only doing it in your mind. Athletes do this all the time. They practice making the basket from various positions on the floor, or hitting the ball, getting a hole in one, or this happens all the time. And so the subconscious doesn't know that that's just a fantasy in your head. The problem becomes when we replay past traumatic events, because we are replaying the past. Your mind doesn't know the difference. Your subconscious, whether it's a past or the future or a fantasy, it just creates what you think about all the time. That's its job. So you're magnetizing to you, based on the emotions that you feel, whether it's a past event or something you would like to have happen. You're sending out a frequency, and that frequency is magnetizing that event to you. Mm-hmm. More of the same.
Yeah. And our subconscious mind drives our mind the majority of the time, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Another example of so your subconscious doesn't know fact from fiction, basically. It also doesn't judge what's good for you or not good for you. So if you said to yourself, I can eat whatever I want and I never gain a pound, that's a healthy thing to say for yourself,
yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Or no matter what I eat, it just goes right through me. I burn it up. I have a high metabolism. Your subconscious doesn't know what's good or bad. So you could say to yourself, I look like I'm 25 years old. Your subconscious is going to, and if you felt the feelings, they did a study that was quite fascinating. They took these 8 men and they told them to pretend it was 22 years before. And they had to do this for a whole week. They were in their 70s. Some of them came in with canes, stooped over, arthritis, and they had to pretend they were 22 years younger for this whole week. And they took all the measurements. They measured their dexterity. They measured their height, their weight, all kinds of measurements. And they found after those 5 days, now the whole scenario was set up so that the magazines were from 22 years ago. The television shows were from 22 years ago. They weren't allowed to talk about anything but what was going on 22 years ago in politics or in the world. So it was a major experiment. But what they found afterwards, I mean, these guys, at the end of these five days, these men are in their 70s. They played a spontaneous game of touch football. They started feeling more vital. They started feeling more youthful. And the measurements they took after the experiment showed this. Mm-hmm. So it's fascinating to think about how powerful the mind is on the body.
Yeah, and it can't tell the difference between what we're living in our reality and what we're visualizing. It thinks it's both real.
Exactly.
Isn't that incredible? Don't we need to take that and use it to our advantage?
Yes, exactly. That's what we need to do. We need to dedicate a portion of our day, twice a day maybe, for 30 minutes and focus on what you do want. Yeah. And that's where, I love to talk about the quantum field, which is where all possibilities exist. And you have access to that through your subconscious mind.
Yeah. So how can we then utilize the subconscious mind to better our lives?
Well, past life regression is one way to clear the blocks. Emotional freedom technique, EFT, is another way to clear the blocks, those traumatic events. But a lot of times we don't know what they are. So I think people have to become very aware of how their body feels in various situations when drama comes up. So, see, that's another thing. People who grew up with drama will continue to create drama in their lives.
Yes.
So it's first of all, it's becoming aware. When you can notice something about yourself, when you can notice that you behave a certain way when a certain thing happens, that's bringing it to consciousness. And once you bring it to the surface, of your consciousness, you recognize that you do this, you can examine it. You can understand or feel the feelings in your body when this thing happens. I think most people go around in an unconscious state. Really. Mm-hmm. They do the same thing. There's something called driving hypnosis. Have you heard of that?
I have not, no.
It's when you get in your car at work and you're going home and you end up in your driveway and you don't remember how you got there.
Oh, well, I've done that a few times.
That's driving hypnosis. That's us living our lives in an unconscious state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? There's so much we do that's unconscious.
Mm-hmm. So how can we change this programming in the subconscious then? What are ways to do that?
You can use affirmations. You can use subliminal affirmations. You can become very conscious about how you speak about your body, like about your vision or your knees cracking, or, I used to be able to run up the stairs. You have to be careful about what you say around your body because your body's listening.
All the time.
That's one way. That's right. So that's one way. But another way is to listen to subliminal recordings where you just hear the music on the surface, but the subconscious is listening all the time. I'm in the process of creating some of these for my YouTube channel. And they're about an hour long. Some of them will be longer. And you can listen to these in your sleep. Mm-hmm. The subconscious hears everything, even if it's subliminal, if it's under the surface of the music. Your subconscious will pick it up. And these are all positive affirmations about releasing the past or living in the now moment. Yeah, that's another way. And of course, hypnosis is a way.
Yeah. I totally understand about subliminal recordings. I have some of my own, and some of my clients love them. They just absolutely love them. And some people don't understand, how it works. And my way of explaining to them is that there is a lot more out there other than our audible range, things that we can actually hear. This is either above or below it, and that's how it works. Just because we can't audibly hear it, it doesn't mean that it's not
We're
getting
not.
taken in by the subconscious, right?
Exactly. Think of a dog whistle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You and I
exactly.
can't hear a dog whistle, but a dog can hear a dog whistle, clearly. So yes, that's exactly right. Just because we can't hear it audibly, our subconscious is picking it up. You've heard of the stories, have you? Where somebody's in surgery and they are under general anesthetic. Those doctors have to be careful what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because that patient will pick up the conversation. If the doctor said, "Oh, I'll give this guy much hope," when he's taking a cancerous tissue or tumor or whatever out of his body, that patient is going to hear that. Yeah. So it is very, very important when you're sleeping, what you're hearing. On the other hand, it can be very, very effective. For example, I'm making right now subliminal affirmations for parents to play for their children. I'm a math genius. I'm a reading whiz.
Yes.
I'm a spelling whiz. It's so much. I'm a genius. I'm a brilliant mind.
That would be an absolutely amazing gift for all children that are coming up, because I know you, like me, understand that, the subconscious mind is it's open, it's wide open, and absorbs everything like a sponge up until about 7 or 8 years old.
That's right.
So yeah, the earlier they get these good habits into their subconscious, the better their future will be, because they'll be creating on these good habits, won't they? Not the bad habits that we've been conditioned to have.
Exactly. And so parents would play this during sleep time, and it's just a gentle sound of crickets or nature sounds. And underneath that, are these subliminal affirmations that are helping that child be confident and secure. I think it's wonderful. Just wonderful.
Yeah. And the subconscious mind, isn't it? It's open and receptive about 30 minutes before we fall asleep. And again, about 30 minutes after we wake up, right?
Exactly. It's that dreamy kind of state. Now, there are 4 levels of consciousness that we talk about. You and I are in beta right now. And it basically means the cycles of thoughts are faster. There's more thinking. And in the second level, when your consciousness starts to go towards sleep, you're in alpha. Now, the thing is, when we're watching television, it's what they called it television programming, didn't they? So this is what's happening. When you're watching television, you are very relaxed, and most of the time you're in alpha. And this is where we're starting to get into the place where your subconscious is very open and very susceptible. So then they give you the hamburger commercials or the crispy fried chicken commercials, and you start to get hungry. They're smart. They know what they're doing.
Yes, they are. Very smart.
After alpha, so that's beta, then alpha, and then theta. Now in theta is really cool because you can have painless childbirth and painless dentistry.
Yes.
In theta. And then you have delta, and delta is deep REM sleep. Yeah, so many times we're in alpha, theta, sort of when we're coming out of sleep in the morning and when we're going to sleep at night. It's that sort of very relaxed, dozy feeling.
Yeah.
And you can begin to program the subconscious mind when you're in that state. It doesn't have to be in the morning and the evening. It doesn't have to be when you're waking up or going to sleep. You can do this any time of the day.
Yeah.
Self-hypnosis, guided meditations. Yeah.
Theta's where I work for those reasons. It helps to influence the subconscious. And I call that, the state of being in between asleep and awake. That's around about that time. Great stuff. We're going to take a quick break right now because we've got a bit of a natural pause. So stick around with us because Tracy's going to tell us a fun fact about her. So we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Bobby Aldridge with BAM Metrics. There are so many programs out there that measure your swing speed, sets, reps, your BMI, your body fat, but the one thing they're not measuring that's so essential is mobility. Mobility is the key. If you're measuring your mobility, your performance will get better and you will reduce your pain. I created BAM Metrics to make it easy for people to repeat the exercises so they could do it properly at home on their own. It's simple, it's easy to do, and from a senior to a pro athlete.
And welcome back to the Transcend and Succeed show, where we are talking all things subconscious with the lovely Tracy Jay. And Tracy, you have a fun fact you're going to tell us.
Yes. Several years ago, I had I picked up my sister. I was driving, and of course, I was speeding because I'm always rushing to get somewhere. And of course, I guess it was a 35 zone. I was doing about 55, I guess. I was whipping along. And of course, the sirens, behind, look at my rearview mirror. Oh, crap. So I'm not, okay. So I pull over and my sister's sitting beside me. Now, the interesting thing is we had just come back about the week before from a spiritual retreat where it was intense, very intense. And we focused many, many, many times a day on, creating reality. So I said to my sister before the officer came to my window, I said, let's focus on me not getting a ticket. And she said, yeah, okay, we'll do it. So he comes to the window. I give him my driver's license and my insurance, and he goes back to the police car. So as soon as he walked away from my car, we both put our heads down and focused on, a big X, no ticket. He just lets us go. So lo and behold, he was back there, I don't know, 5, maybe 7 minutes checking me out on his computer on the dashboard in his car. So then he comes back and I open my window and he sort of looks down at us and he says, looks at my sister, looks at me, you ladies are free to go. And he hands me my documentation back. And we just did a high five. We were pretty excited about that because I should have gotten not just, it would have been a major ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. You mastered that good old Jedi mind trick there.
Yes. Yeah, it was pretty fun. at the
Well
time.
done you. Well done you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you were explaining to us just before the break about the different levels of consciousness, and just halfway through last segment, you mentioned manifesting in the quantum field. So can you explain what manifesting in the quantum field means?
Well, the quantum field is known as source energy, universal consciousness. It is the place, point zero, that's another term for it. It's the place where all possibilities, all potentials exist. So when we manifest in the quantum field, we imagine ourselves in space. It's like when you meditate and you go within. Well, you're going into space. You become a point of pure consciousness. You forget about your body. You forget about time. You are in the flow of all things. And so what happens is you visualize the thing that you want to achieve, that you want to manifest in the quantum field, in the blackness of that potential, of all of the possibilities. And the thing is, you have to pair intention with emotion. So one is the electric frequency, the intention, and the other one is the emotion is the magnetic frequency that draws it to you. You magnetize it to you. So that's how I think of it.
Yeah, I suppose you could describe it as like the blank canvas, right? It's the place you go, you've got your blank canvas, now you've got your paints and all your crayons and whatever it is, and that is where you create. Would that be accurate?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The problem comes after doing your focus, where you go back and you live your life as if you didn't do that focus. You have to try to control your thoughts so that you're congruent with the frequency that you're sending out. If you focus on wealth and then you come out of the focus or the meditation and then you start talking about the price of chicken soup or the price of, the new tires you have to get for your car, you're kind of undoing what you've just done. So you have to try to stay congruent. You have to try to, and that's the hardest part in your day-to-day life when you're not in that focus, to act as if you already have that thing that you've been focusing on.
So
you have to surrender it.
Yeah, explain a bit more then the role of intention and belief in this manifestation process.
Yes, well, belief is everything. If everything exists in the quantum field, belief is a choice. It's simply a choice. Yep. Now, that voice is in the back of your head that say that's not true. That's what you have to control. That's what you have to get over. Because you can just you could just decide. You have determined, like you talked about this yourself. I'm determined to do this cleanse. Right? You're determined. When you can feel it inside, that determination. But sometimes people just have to get to the point where they're so low, or they're so disgusted, or they're so angry, or that's when they make that determination, that intention to believe, that intention to know you're going to achieve this. The problem is that people don't realize all things exist in the quantum field. Everything and anything you can achieve. And I mean it. The only thing that prevents you is that voice in the back of your head that is telling you not to believe. That's telling you you don't deserve it. Those blocks within that thermostat in your subconscious brain that keeps us within these parameters.
Yeah, your programming parameters, right?
Exactly. So that's my take on it. That's how it seems to work for me. When you determine you're going to believe in this, I can create this, you realize how powerful you are when you start manifesting this. It starts with small things. And
we are super powerful beings, aren't we? We don't believe we're as powerful as we actually are. Again, parameters.
I say we are like transceivers.
Yeah.
We send frequency out and we receive, frequency back in.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing this all day. We have like, I don't know how many bits of information bombarding us in every second. And it's being analyzed unbeknownst to us. Frequencies, bits of information. Our brains are so powerful, and this is why we are unconsciously manifesting. Because if we're thinking about the past and we're thinking about the emotions from the past, then that's what we're asking for.
Yeah.
That is basically what we're asking to manifest more of.
That's why we create from our past, isn't it? Why we seem to get stuck in the cycles of it, and it's everything that we've lived in our past, and we don't realize what we're doing. That's why we can't get past it.
It really is all about mind control. When I was really young, I was still in high school. I took the Silva method of mind control. They dropped that word mind control. They just call it Silva method now. But it is the control of your own mind. Nobody else is controlling you, because otherwise you're a victim to someone else's comments or behaviors.
Yeah.
So it's your own mind control, and you choose to control your mind because you want to create a different reality.
Yeah.
So, and that's the hardest part. Switching your brain. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about this.
Yeah, awareness of what you're thinking and its negative effects that it's going to have on you, and being able to flip that script around and turn it into something that you really, really do want. Yep, awareness is key. Because when you're aware, then you change your perception, right? And if you change your perception, you can't go back.
And the thing is,
change.
Once you start winning, once you manifest that little thing, oh man, then you get really excited. Because then you realize, oh, if I could do that, I can do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Get ready for liftoff.
Exactly. So the more you do it, the more you want to do it.
Okay. So what are some specific techniques or practices that you use then that helps you manifest what you want?
The breath is very, very, very important.
Okay.
The breath, getting out of your body, you can do this with the breath. The breathing techniques, I learned them very, very long time ago. Excuse me, I have to take a drink. My throat is so dry. There we go. Thank you. Breathing techniques, but the other thing is emotion. Feel the feelings of, now that's very dangerous at this point, because you could be feeling the feelings of, I wish I had this thing, as opposed to giving thanks that you already have this thing.
Yeah.
If you have, I wish I had this thing feelings, you're basically trying to create from lack. And this is why many times it doesn't work for people, because you come out of that meditation and say, well, I don't really have that thing. I don't really have it. I want it. And if you want something, you just create more wanting, right? You have to give thanks for already having, and then feeling the feelings as if you really did have them, this thing, whatever it is. And these are feelings of joy, bliss, gratitude, inspiration, anticipation. This thing is coming to you because you're creating it. You're giving thanks for already having it. How would you feel if you already had it? So emotions play a big, huge role in this. That's what magnetizes it back to you.
Yeah, the feeling does. And for those that have a hard time, do people maybe understand what we're talking about here in the manifestation process, and understand the feeling is what draws it to us? How can they, for those that are having difficulty in bringing on that feeling in their body when they're visualizing something that they want. How do you bring that feeling in? Because sometimes I find it difficult to actually generate that feeling within.
I think before you're in the meditation, you should really do some research. How would you think about it? Sit around and think about it. Pretend in your mind, rehearse it. Pretend in your mind you already have it. How are you going to feel? What are you going to do with it? What does it mean about you that you have this thing? Mm-hmm. Before you actually do the meditation. That's what I would do.
So, as an example, then you're talking about doing research about something that you want and how you would feel when you have it. Right. So, for example, if anybody wants a new car, they can go and look online at the ones they want and then go to the car showroom, sit in it, behind the wheel, maybe take it for a spin and see how that feels and that's how they should generate the emotion and the feeling within the body.
Yep.
Okay.
And then give thanks that you already have it.
Gratitude, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, gratitude is a very, very powerful feeling, isn't it? It's a very powerful emotion.
I've heard a long time ago that that's how we should be praying. If you're going to pray, pray as if it's already been given to you. In thanks, because you already have it. Don't pray like, oh, please do this for me, please do that. God must be so tired of hearing those kinds of prayers, right?
Yeah.
So pray as if you already have the thing that you're asking for in thanks, in gratitude. And I think it's much, much more effective because it's that emotion that's magnetizing it to you.
And that'll bring it to you a lot faster. Yeah.
In spite of, and the thing is, you have to try to stay focused on this, on your belief in spite of your current circumstances, because your current circumstances were created from past thinking.
Yeah.
But you've got to give it time. That's one of the problems about being in this three-dimensional world, because everything is so slow. It's like living in jello, in terms of how things manifest so slowly. But we've got to stay focused. And this is why you have to do this thing like 2 or 3 times a day and keep your belief. Let nothing shake you from that belief that this is coming for you.
And constantly remember about it. I know I can be very bad sometimes at forgetting to do these practices on a regular basis, because we do get caught up in our physical lives, don't we? We get totally caught up with what we need to do here and we forget about that. So we need to pick that up and remember that we're forgetting to do it and keep that momentum going.
Do you know what I do? I've got these little cards and I make a symbol. It's just a little. It's about a half of a 8.5 by 11 page, but it's cardstock, right?
Yep.
So draw a picture on there that symbolizes the thing that I want. And then I'll put them around the house. And I know that when I do my focus, my manifestation focus, that's what I see in my frontal lobe. I see that symbol because I don't have to think about, a scenario where I meet this person or, I don't have, it's that gets complicated. So instead I think about my symbol and I think it's so beautiful. And this is, I love this thing. Thank you for being in my life. And I'm talking to this symbol in my mind. And this is what, this is what works the best for me. It's much, much simpler.
What have you managed to manifest using that particular technique?
Oh, lots of things. Boyfriends, cars. One of my best ones, many, many years ago, I was in real estate and I'm focusing on getting some listings. So I got, this was like 2006 or 7. I got the most expensive listing that I'd ever gotten in my life. They told me to come over at 8:00 in the morning. I'm like, holy cow. Okay. So, but I didn't expect to get the listing. I didn't even bring a listing form with me. This property had been on the market for 2 years. I got the listing for measly 3 months. Well, I went to work straight away. Besides all the real estate stuff you have to do, I had put it in my focus. So I took a photograph of the house and I put across it, sold. I carried it with me everywhere I went. I carried it in the car. I carried it, it was in my bedroom. I had several copies of this. And every time I stop at a red light, I'd be looking at my card. This place is sold. Well, I stood to make a heck of a lot of commission, the most commission I ever made on one house. Well, not only did I sell it within the time frame, I sold it myself. The buyer came to me. So it was a double sale. This property had been on the market for 2 years. The two top real estate agents in my neighborhood.
Tracy, I can't hear you. Is your mic going? Still can't hear you. Technical issues, folks. What would life be like without technical issues? A lot easier, you say. There you go.
That should be fine now.
That's perfect. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
There's more editing for you.
No worries. I know you were talking about, the house that you had printed out with the cross on it saying sold. And one of my questions was going to be, so how often did you look at this a day? How many times per day? But you've answered that really, really well. So how long did it take you to sell that?
I sold it in less than 3 months. And the best thing was I double-ended it. That means the buyer came to me. So I had the listing and the buyer came to me.
Oh, wow.
And there was no way this guy was not going to buy the house. It was extraordinary. And the thing is, this house had been listed by the 2 top real estate agents in my city for 2 years. Mm-hmm. First the one, then the next, and neither of them could get it sold.
There.
And I got it sold, and I double-ended it. It was the highest commission I
you got the entire commission. Yeah,
that's right. And
that's
so
fantastic.
I went on to do this over and over and over again, and that was very exciting. So I've done this lots and lots of times.
We should give the viewers a bit of a challenge then. Excuse me, is to actually do what you're doing, what you're suggesting there. Get themselves a piece of card and put that symbol on it, and look at it so many times a day, and let you know how long it took for them to manifest it. That would be very interesting to find out.
That would be wonderful. They could just put a photograph on the card.
Yeah.
I saw my parents do this when they got themselves a new van. It was all outfitted, with a television set and they had this photograph on the mirror in their bathroom. And they'd look at it and they'd feel what it would feel like to be in that van and traveling around as a family. And they did it.
There you go. Well, that would be very interesting. So if you're watching and you want to do this challenge, that would be great. Let us know how it works for you. Tracy, we've only got a few minutes left, so I wanted to ask you about age regression. So can you explain what age regression is using hypnosis and what the potential benefits are?
Well, yes. Now, the way age regression is thought of when it comes to hypnosis is that you would take somebody back to the age of 5 or 6 to uncover their traumas, or 2, 3, whatever. But that's not how I mean age regression. I mean that if you're in that deep, deep, deep state where you're just a point of consciousness, where you've forgotten about your body, you've forgotten about the room you're in, you've forgotten what you're sitting on, you've forgotten, what time it is. When you can go into that place and see yourself as you were when you were 22 years old or 25, your body, you are going to activate your DNA to bring you back to that time. Same as your eyesight, same as your creaky knees, same as that experiment that scientist did, where the men 22 years. Imagine themselves for a whole week, 22 years younger. And the results were off the scale afterward. And you can do this with hypnosis, meditation. Put yourself in that quantum field and see yourself behaving, acting, physically active, no lines on your face. It's true. It can be done.
The power of the mind.
Yeah.
It's so much more powerful than we can ever imagine. I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah, let's face it, there's a lot of money to be made when you don't know how powerful
when you don't know how to use your subconscious mind to your own benefit. Yes.
Yeah. Lots of industries are making a lot of money on our ignorance.
And that would be why we are not educated on that. Did I say that out loud? I was thinking that out loud.
And that's how the school system should change.
There you go. I agree with you. And I know you do sessions around this. So typically, how many sessions are required for someone to, start seeing results with the age regression hypnosis that you do?
I saw results with myself the first time.
Right.
The first time I did it. So it just depends on how their strength of their belief.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If they've been living the past 25 years or 30 years saying, well, I'm getting older. And that's another thing. Don't count your birthdays. Don't count your birthdays, because you know what it means. The higher that number goes up, in our minds, the more we become decrepit. Right? The older we count ourselves. So don't celebrate your birthday. Just go out for dinner on any day. Mm-hmm. Ignore it. So depending on the person, and how much they believe and how much they're reminding themselves about how young they are, put a photograph of yourself at 22 years old on a card and look at yourself and say, instead of saying to your face, oh my God, look at these wrinkles coming around my eyes.
Yes.
Right?
Don't draw attention to the bad bits,
Regardless of how they look, you say, my skin is looking great today.
Uh-huh.
Look at those wrinkles are fading.
Yes, I'm getting younger every day.
Exactly.
Uh-huh. It's the power of belief. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are there any scientific studies or research that support the effectiveness of that?
Aside from this one that I told you about, that was a retreat, I'm sure there's others. I'm not familiar with them, but I mean, it's the same thing as why would my golf swing get better? Mm-hmm. Or why would I be able to sink a lot of baskets? If these people, if you're doing this repetition, in the quantum field, in your subconscious mind, repeating, telling it, then it's going to happen. It's like anything else. It's just that we have a block. Many people have had spontaneous remissions after doing meditations. Mm-hmm.
I see.
Of disease and illness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how do you see the future of these type of practices evolving then? So what potential breakthroughs do you anticipate in this field?
Well, I think the frequency of the planet is increasing. Mm-hmm. I think that what that means is, instead of it taking so long to manifest something, it's going to happen a lot faster, even instantaneously at times. Why should age regression be any different? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A long time ago, I read a channeled entity, and he said that at some point in our future, we'll be able to just think ourselves a different nose.
Yes.
Think ourselves a different eye color.
Because we've got rid of the blocks that are preventing us from manifesting these things that we want. Yeah.
And the frequency of the planet is getting faster. The veils are thinning.
Yes, it is.
So, there's less of a distance. You can collapse time in the quantum field. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to come out of nowhere. It happens it's so shocking, and it's a surprise. The other day, I have a very deep line here.
Don't draw attention to it, Tracy.
from
Don't draw attention.
smiling all the time.
Yes.
And I looked in the mirror and said, what happened? It's gone. And so I really believe, I wish I had a photo of it. That's yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to pop this QR code up on screen here. Will you tell us about this, please?
Oh yes, people can use this as a 35. It is a 35% discount to work with me on a single session or numerous sessions, if you wish. And the coupon code is just for me 35. So feel free to use that to take 35% off anytime if you decide that you're ready to move to the next level with the power of your subconscious mind.
Sure, and that's visitapastlife.com. It's on screen, everything's there. You can take the screenshot of it, the QR code, and it'll take you right to Tracy's website. So yeah. Well, Tracy, we've got a couple of minutes left. So do you have any projects that you're working on just now? You know, anything that you want to tell us about that you're going to have available this year?
Well, I'm going to do many more of these subliminal recordings, and you're going to be. I'm going to put them on YouTube so you don't have to pay to use them. But if you are interrupted by commercials and things like that, it's not so good. I'm going to set up a shop on my website for all of these, and I'm going to focus too on parents working with their children. I think that's exciting, and in a subliminal way.
Big thing. Yeah.
Let's
help them while they're young.
I agree.
Isn't that the case? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's our future.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me again today. That was a great conversation. Never mind the technical difficulties. That's absolutely fine.
Well, thank you, Dawn. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It was nice to talk with you.
And you. And everybody out there, just take care and we'll see you next time. Bye, Tracy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.